Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are well, and I am doing great. It's a Friday evening. I have a very special guest. Look, you won't believe how we met. You know, one of the things that this pandemic, or people say pandemic, is the fact that I am now, I know how TikTok works. You know, I am now, I think I have gone viral. I have well over 23K followers and I've had well over 230 likes. Now, before the pandemic, I knew nothing about TikTok, absolutely nothing about TikTok. I was always on stage delivering speeches. And when the first lockdown happened, when I was put under house arrest in Britain, someone suggested that I join TikTok. And I joined TikTok, and I have a video of myself running as if a police dog was chasing me, and I was in my uniform, and it went viral. And people were saying to me, come to America, come and run for the elections, Obonjo for the USA. I just couldn't believe it. So I need to explain why I have a guest from TikTok called Jayden. A few days ago or weeks ago, I tweeted about Boko Haram and the killing of well over 33 farmers in Nigeria. And I tweeted, and there was this young man who responded all the way from Florida, questioning my knowledge. Can you imagine? Questioning, this is what happens to democracy.
Never.
Yeah,
never.
Questioning my knowledge. And I said, okay, if you know so much about Boko Haram, I am going to invite you to my podcast and let's talk about it, because he gave some really very intellectual responses. And these are things, because I think if I remember correctly, I said that it was sponsored by foreign powers. And he was one of the few who actually responded, and he corrected me. And I said, okay, fine. I demand that I see you on my podcast Friday. Drop everything. So can you please give it up? I know I can't hear you applaud. Give it up for this young man that I'm going to talk to, Jayden D. Onofirio. Have I pronounced that name right?
Not even close, but that's perfectly fine.
No, let's start, because if it was a white man who pronounced your name that way, I would say he's being racist. So tell me, how do you pronounce your name properly?
D'Onofrio.
Okay, so where are you from?
I was born in New York, and I live in Florida now, in the United States.
Well, that sounds like an Italian name. That's an Italian surname?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
Most of my family from my dad's side is from Italy.
Excellent. So you're an Italian American, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
so I'm not talking, I hope I am not talking to the son of a mafia gang member or something.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I tell you what, one of my great uncles, mafia boss. We're not going to talk about that, though.
Ooh, are you serious?
You got to keep that on the down low.
Yeah, we have to keep that on the down low. So,
yes,
Jayden, I was really, really impressed with the response you gave about Boko Haram. And so, welcome to my podcast, If Comedians Rule the World. And I know you're not a comedian, but I have decided after having the discussions with my cabinet members that not only do I want to invite comedians to my podcast, I also want to invite people who, are interested in politics. Because what's really interesting for a young man like you, the way you responded on Boko Haram, you were not even frightened to challenge my presidency. You were so bold, and it was like 3 tweets. I almost thought that you were going to write in capital letters, and that's why I said I must invite you to my podcast. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How have you been coping with the lockdown? What's been happening to you before we go into Boko Haram?
Oh, I'll tell you what, shit's been crazy over here in the United States. As you can tell, I'm sure. I'm not going to really go in depth onto, why it's crazy over here. I think there's obvious reasons, but, I do a lot of school online, a lot of crazy stuff. I tell you that, just a lot of craziness over here.
Okay.
You gotta go crazy with those crazy Americans,
Yeah, crazy Americans.
Yep.
I know we don't want to go into the details of the American elections. We know you got a new president. Did you vote?
Yeah. No, I'm too young to vote, but I would have voted for Joe Biden. That's for sure. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, okay. So you're too young to vote, which is fine. How come a young man like you is interested in politics? How come you know so much about Boko Haram? Tell me a little bit about how that's all begun.
I tell you, I think I've always had this natural interest in politics and military affairs and national security, since I was young. I don't know what it is. I'm just crazy like that. I guess I'm like a nerd. I don't know if that's what you want to consider me. I just love those things. Ever since I was young, I would always read books on, World War II and World War One. And I think that's, to remember history is the most important thing for us to continue forward.
Wow, you say all these things. I don't see you as a nerd. I see you as someone who has a very progressive mind and it wants to understand what's happening in his surroundings. I actually think that you are going to end up running either for presidency of America or Italy. I just get the impression, unless you
I need
decide.
the support from you. I
No,
need your support in this.
well, we will. It might just even be a military coup, but who knows? So,
Oh boy, damn.
so you said you've read books. So you were reading books. You read books at a young age. How did you? How? Because it's really interesting. Because at times I feel like Americans don't necessarily know what's happening outside America. So how did you? How did you get that link in terms of Nigeria and Boko Haram? How did you? And actually, we need to say this: you're not part of Boko Haram. You're not being recruited. You're just. Tell me a little bit more.
Not that I know of yet. Not that I know of. I'll tell you this. You're 100% right about the Americans being, very self-centered. I will 100% admit that we're very isolationist, and a lot of our overview of the outside world is just very, very small, very slim. So, trying to expose yourself to other countries is very important, I think. So, I've worked with various people, various national security experts on different, situations around the world. Boko Haram being one example. I think it's very important that we educate as many people as we can to try and fix these issues around the world and trying to progressively overcome these issues.
Okay, so why Boko Haram? So at what age did you start? At what age did you get involved in security
Right.
issues? This is just really interesting that a young man like you, and I hope I'm not patronizing you because that's not what I intend to
No,
do. I'm just
I
fascinated that you. I would have thought you would be into rap music and everything else that a
oh,
young
don't get me
person should.
started on rap. I love rap.
Yeah, okay, cool, cool, cool. So
um,
how did that? I know you said you love reading books, but why Nigeria? Why Boko Haram?
right. So, last year, they do certain programs in the United States for you to get certain experiences. This one was very rare though. It was a summer program where you work with certain national security experts, CIA, FBI, like the most high up person I worked with, who I have, a good relationship with. We talk often about national security issues, is the director of national counterterrorism for the National Security Council. And we work together on proposing solutions for certain issues, like Boko Haram in Nigeria. So, one of the things we had to help or solve was it was a university called Yobe State University. We had to help prepare them in the case of an attack by Boko Haram in that region, because that region is very heavily hit hard by Boko Haram. So we would work with these people on a basis of like 2 months on trying to solve certain issues within Nigeria. And I just found that stuff fascinating. And, I continue to work with them to this day. And it's just something I love, to be honest. I love helping
Wow,
people and I love trying to solve issues.
wow. That's just mind blowing. So okay, that's how you got involved. So what you might not be able to say this. What do you think has created Boko Haram, and what do you think is the solution? If at any point in time you feel, because obviously I don't know what projects you've worked on, and I also don't want you to breach confidentiality. But one of the things, obviously, that I said was I felt that Boko Haram was sponsored um, uh, by foreign powers because I have okay, let me just explain. Originally I'm from Nigeria. I was a Nigerian, but I was so disillusioned about the way forward for Nigeria, and then I created my own fictional country called laughter republic, my own utopia, because I was just so disappointed with Nigeria. And and even though some people still call me a Nigerian, and it might be that people might think I've got some screws loose, but I actually see myself as a laughter Republican, president of a great country. I run that country from home. So my view is that, foreign powers, because at one point they said Nigeria was going to split into so many states, especially in 2015, when we had some kind of general election. I'm sure you must know this. So Boko Haram has been around now for a long time, and some people's school of thought is that Boko Haram is sponsored by the Northern Elders, that they are the ones who are sponsoring this to destabilize the whole of the country. So I don't know whether that is true or not, but based on what you know, what's your understanding of it?
Right. So, I mean, it's a very huge issue to tackle. It's very possible that Boko Haram is sponsored by, foreign nations, foreign entities. You look at the United States, our involvement in a lot of conflicts around the world is major. We fund, for example, in Syria, we funded extremist groups in the name of regime change for al-Assad. So, it's not too far-fetched, although there's no evidence at this point to say that, the United States or some other country, sponsored Boko Haram. But I will say it's not too far-fetched. Now, as far as the issue of trying to say why Boko Haram came about, there's a lot of different issues. Nigeria itself is a very poor country, and it's really sad to say, considering that it's one of the most populous countries in Nigeria. If not, I believe it is the most populous country in Nigeria. Their poverty rate is insane, and the education rate is not amazing either. So it really comes down to education and the well-being of the economy that leads to these creation of these terrorist groups. It's just a lot of these people don't have, a good life, and they have nothing else to do rather than just to pick up a rifle and to try and make money that way. That's the only way they can try and make their money. So there's a lot of different ways you can try and solve this, but to say that, that we can eventually put those solutions into action, that's very tough to do.
It's really interesting you talk about the economy, and we know for a fact there are lots of youths who are unemployed in Nigeria. I will correct you in terms of that, yes, the country, you said the country is poor. Actually, the country is rich. It's the corruption, the fact that the distribution of wealth is not hitting the young people.
I 100% agree.
That is it, because Nigeria has money.
You have the most oil in the entire African continent.
Don't say you. Don't say you, because I'm not allowed in Nigeria. But they I know what you mean.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. But the Nigerian nation has the most oil in the entire African continent, and it's just it's crazy to me that such a oil-rich nation can fall so heavily. And it's just, when I say poor, I agree with you on that point. Poor as in the people are poor.
Yeah.
The government itself should absolutely, they're rich as hell. They're just super, super rich. And these people are really underprivileged, and it's really sad. And you mentioned corruption. Corruption is very interesting in Nigeria. I consider them to be one of the most corrupt governments in the entire world, and it's really, really sad to say. But there's reports of politicians funding the Boko Haram group to carry out attacks to further their own political agenda.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really terrible, certain things that are happening over there.
Yeah. But, if I can say this, corruption is an English word, and it's something that has been inherited by the colonial masters. And no country is clean. As much as I don't want to defend Nigeria, you look at America and the elections, that's all full of corruption as well, in terms of the sponsors. And all the money that floats around during, political campaigns, obscene money. It's like, if you're a poor man, you can't even run for office. Just don't even think about it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You have to be able to raise the funds. It's for me, when I hear about Boko Haram and because at one point I thought they had got rid of the leader, because Boko Haram is almost very similar to, they don't have the same sophistication like Al Qaeda or like the Taliban, but
Right.
they've got some resources. But would you say America has been successful in, maybe the issues are different actually, but America has been very forceful in terms of dealing with terrorist groups, haven't they?
I'm not a huge fan of United States foreign policy. I really, really hate it, to be honest. There's a lot of conflicts and a lot of people have died because of the United States. I don't want to bring on a whole different topic, but you look at Venezuela, you look at Yemen, you look at Syria. There's 3 places right there where it's just really, really shitty, and that's a lot of it has to do with the United States. Look at Libya. Libya has an open slave trade market after the United States intervened in their country. You would think that after, a country as rich as the United States and the biggest military in the world, the smartest people as far as their military assets, you would think that they would be able to, implement a new plan for a lot of these countries. They haven't. They've ruined tons of lives.
I agree with you, and I have to say that even though the subject for discussion is about Boko Haram, but it is all related, because this is why I genuinely believe that there are foreign powers involved in this. They want to see these countries not stabilized, but actually just, because it pays them to see these countries divided. It pays them to see.
It's not a crazy conclusion to come to, considering how oil rich Nigeria is.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything revolves around oil.
Yes, definitely.
Venezuela is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Oil, oil, oil.
Yeah, I know. I had this favorite joke of mine. You might not find it funny, that if there was oil in a dog's ass, Nigerians will be able to tap it to find where the oil is, because they need that oil. Yeah, but if you let's talk about the foreign policy in terms of America, because, and I know I've been reading a lot as well during this lockdown. I have been horrified by the things America have been involved in terms of regime change. And I jokingly said to someone that I wish we could reverse it, whereby Donald Trump doesn't want to leave office. We as Africans are concerned about democracy, and we want regime change as well. Just flip it over so that we can protect democracy in one way or the other. But what my approach to this is, when you talk about the economy, as much as Nigerians, especially Nigerian politicians, are responsible for the way Nigeria is, because they should have taken the lead over the last 60 years and ensured that they were meeting the needs of young people. The environment, the external environment, the IMF, the World Bank, those institutions are not for African countries. I don't know if you know about IMF loans. So when a country is in trouble, the IMF will give them loans, and there's a strict, they have to reduce their currency and so on. That also affects the economy. That also affects dissatisfaction amongst young people, even though they're not in power.
Right.
So I wasn't hoping that we would be able to come up with any solutions, because obviously what you have said to me is that you don't think that it's a very complex situation. But if you had the opportunity and you were in charge of Nigeria, how would you sort out Boko Haram?
There's a lot of different actions I would take. One action being with the Lake Chad countries that you have. So that would be, Cameroon, Niger. There's a few other countries in that Lake Chad area. Increase cooperation with them in countering Boko Haram. The military cooperation that they have with them right now is very tense. It's not amazing as far as we can tell. They need to strengthen that cooperation in trying to counter Boko Haram. And as I mentioned, education programs is one of the most important things. You need to get education into these people. I mean, it's just education in America too. You look at America as far as white supremacy groups, their education is severely less than the common person. So it's just really, these people are very disadvantaged compared to the normal Nigerian person. So and you could look at the poverty rates for those areas. Northeastern Nigeria is one of the poorest parts of the country. It's mainly made of farmers, I believe. So it's just a very poor part of the country, and that's where they're getting a lot of their conscripts from. I believe there's 4,000 to 6,000 Boko Haram members, and perhaps even triple that amount. So education programs, putting people to work, and just diversifying your economy. The Nigerian economy is mainly based off oil, and they've done a terrible job at diversifying their economy and opening up new ways to allow people to get to work. It's just, it really comes down to economic and education factors. But in the means of trying to counter Boko Haram, you really need to strengthen your cooperation with the fellow Lake Chad countries. There's just a lot of ways you can really counter them, and it's just not been taken by the Nigerian government for maybe corruption reasons or totally different reasons. It's not really known, but it's just really, really sad.
So so these solutions that you're talking about, you believe those have been presented to the Nigerian government and they've just refused to take them on?
You know, I mean, those are really the only solutions you have. That's the way to prevent, terrorism from continuing in a non-ending cycle like we've seen in the Middle East. The Middle East will never get solved as far as their terrorist groups because education programs are not, you're not really able to place them over there. It's a never-ending cycle over there. Nigeria can fix it because of the amount of money they have, but it just doesn't trickle down to the people. It trickles up. It just stays. Well, it doesn't even trickle up. It just stays with the government. It just stays there. And you see that with the United States when Reagan was in office. He said trickle down economics. It didn't trickle down. It just stayed with the wealthy and the government. Yeah. So it's a lot of different factors that are contributing to this never-ending cycle that will likely persist as long as as long as Nigeria has Muhammadu Buhari and that government in power. It's going to continue most likely.
Wow. Let's flip it around, because America has had such a very difficult couple of weeks. It looks like the elections hasn't ended. With a number, last time I switched on Twitter, someone wrote Donald Trump has won. And it happens to be...
They're gone. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
They're delusional.
Yeah. Do you think, because at one point, I genuinely thought that America will have some kind of civil war. I just thought that was what was going to happen. We know that there are white supremacists. I've seen videos, I don't know how far these videos are, where they're basically saying, oh, if he doesn't win, we're going to get out there and fight.
Right.
Do you believe that there could possibly be an American Boko Haram in the future?
We already do have one.
Yeah.
It's plain and simply the white supremacist groups. There's so many different ones here. They present the biggest domestic terrorist threat in the United States.
Yeah.
Trump is delusional, straight up delusional. I got to be honest. I never thought we would have an idiot for a president, but here he was.
He survived. It's America. He survived.
If there is no better example of America than Donald Trump becoming president, I will tell you that. Donald Trump likes to press things on Antifa. I don't know if you know what that is, if you've heard of that.
No, I've heard of Antifa. Yeah.
Okay, good. So Antifa, that was his main scapegoat for some reason. That's what he would say is the biggest domestic terrorist threat here. There is no members of Antifa here, first of all. Second of all, Antifa is it's anti-fascist. It's an anti-fascist group, loosely based, variously around the United States. There might be members, sure, but it's not a centralized organization. It's just your neighbor just saying, I'm part of Antifa. Well, if you're part of Antifa, then you're just anti-fascist. Congrats. Trump is trying to say that there's a huge organization of Antifa people that are super violent, pressing all these terrible violence into the streets. It's just totally false. Our biggest domestic terrorism threat is white supremacy groups, and they've proved it time and time again. There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have died because of white supremacists in the United States since 2000, for example. I mean, Look at 9/11. After 9/11, I wasn't alive for this, but you could see through tons of different sources the hate crimes towards Arabic people, horrendous. And a lot of people generalize a whole entire race because of one specific person's doing or one
Wow.
specific group's doing, and it's
So,
really, really bad.
okay, so you've got American Boko Haram, the version of American Boko Haram. That they're out there. It's just a different way in terms of their
It's
approach.
a totally different warfare. I will
Yeah,
say that. You're
yeah,
not going on the streets and you're seeing people getting shot or getting
yeah,
beheaded by
mm,
like the farmers in
yeah,
Nigeria,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the warfare is still there. It's
Mm,
a totally different warfare. It's our version of the Boko Haram,
wow,
and it's terrible.
wow. Look, this has been such a very interesting and enlightening discussion, and I I'm trying to remember when I was really young. I don't know how old you are. Do you mind telling me how old you are?
I'm 15.
Wow. I I never thought of politics at the age of 15. I was into Michael Jackson, Jerry coiling my hair, trying to be
Oh, I
Michael
love Michael
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I love Michael Jackson. Yeah, come
yeah.
on now.
But look, this has been really interesting. It's food for thought, and you've made me uh, actually think about guests that I need to bring to my shows because, like I said, I started this podcast on the basis that I wanted comedians to come and talk to me, and then I'd made up my mind that I wanted to extend it to other people, like-minded people, because the whole idea is just choose a particular topic that we can talk about. And this has just been enlightening. I want to wish you well and success in your future endeavors. And no doubt we shall keep in touch on TikTok and on Twitter.
Of
And
course.
I'm going to be following your journey because I want to see where you're going to head to. What are your plans? Where are you planning to go? And where do you think you're going to be in 10 years' time?
That's a very tough question. I think I want to join the military, spend 20, 30 years, come out, do politics. I have a solidified career, solidified resume. But hey, you never know. It's the United States. Anything happens here.
Yeah,
Anything happens.
yeah, I know you might, and
Or maybe
just
become a dictator like you.
no,
Do me some
I
tips.
would, I would not, I would not recommend that you become a dictator, unless you have a situation like America where it's so messed up right now. I'm going to ask you one question, because I genuinely believe that uh, I believe that Trump will come back in 4 years' time.
I would say no because of the fact his age. He would be very, I think he's going to be 80 almost by the time he would run again.
Yeah, so he just needs a
And
little bit more regen from that COVID medicine. Just pump him up
yeah,
with it. But go on.
um, it's just, I think his age is going to be a big problem for him. And you also have to consider the fact, my generation, which would be Gen Z, a lot of us are going to be able to vote in that 2024 election. A huge base of us.
Mm.
Gen Z hates Trump, rightfully so. I mean, it's beautiful to see. You go on TikTok, TikTok is hugely Biden. It's a lot of Gen Z people. And I just don't see Trump even coming close to winning again. I don't even think the Republican Party likes him. I mean, you see reports of half of the Republican congressmen hate him. And it's a beautiful thing to see because I hate him too. That's just me. But
Okay.
I don't see it again. I don't see it happening again.
Okay. You used a phrase Gen Z. What is that?
Gen Z?
Yeah.
It's a generation. I'm a part of Generation Z.
Okay.
They don't name it over there in Britain?
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's a
So like,
social. Maybe it's a social media.
no,
Maybe it's a social media language.
maybe. I mean, see, over here we have Generation Z, which would be my generation, the newest one. And if you're born, let's say if you're born after 2000, you're a
Yeah.
part of Generation Z.
Yeah.
Before that, if you're a part of, if you're born from 1980, for example, I don't know what the exact dates are, you would be a
Yeah.
part of Generation Y.
Yeah.
And there's totally different generations. I didn't know that they didn't do that over there. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool
no, but it's really interesting. I mean, I have to say to you, there's so many terminologies and acronyms that I have picked up from TikTok. I'm trying to remember one that threw me. I just didn't understand what they were saying. It was almost like saying, I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember. If I remember, I will message you. But it was one that I thought, wow, you can't say this to me. But actually, it didn't mean anything. It was just. It was just.
that happens to me all the time too.
Yeah.
I'm a part of Generation Z. I don't even know. I'm sitting there. What the hell is this?
Yeah, yeah. But look, Jaydon, this has been fantastic. I hope you have enjoyed it. Like I said, there won't be any editing of it. I might publish it tonight or publish it tomorrow, depending on how I feel. But let me know if there's anything at all. Are you comfortable for me to release this?
Yeah, for sure. I'm
Okay.
down.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I love spending time with the president.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Look,
thank you.
We will stay in touch. I will let you know when it will go on YouTube. So share it. You'll be on YouTube, and it's going to be really interesting. This is just a very interesting dynamic. A TikTok fan talking to his president, and we're talking about politics. We haven't. We spoke about Boko Haram. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of many reasons why I started this podcast. I want to wish Jaydon every success in his future. And they say, I remember Muhammad Ali and this song, something to do with our future. I can't remember it now. It has escaped me. There's a song, "The children are our future," blah blah blah. I can't remember it. But
sing it all.
Yeah. I can't remember it now. But actually, I've just found this. I wish I could go back to when I was 15 and start all over again. I was just so playful. That's why I ended up becoming a comedian. I was really, really playful. If you had said to me, I'd be talking about politics at the age of 15. No, I was outside in Nigeria talking to a little lizard every time my parents upset me, because that was my friend, just a little lizard. But look, Jaydon, thank you so much. My listeners, this is another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. We spoke about Boko Haram. We spoke about white supremacists. We spoke about America's involvement in other countries. And you have met a young, brilliant man. And see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Have a good one.
Bye.